Something is happening right now that you cannot see, while you were busy living your normal day, while you were answering with messages, pretending everything was fine, carrying responsibilities that nobody knows about. Someone was thinking about you. Someone was holding back words they have wanted to say for a long time, and maybe you felt it. That strange feeling that appeared out of nowhere. That moment when their name suddenly crossed your mind for no reason. That quiet heaviness in your chest, when you remembered the conversations you used to have, the memories you thought you had already moved past, the feelings you tried to convince yourself were gone. But they were never really gone. Because some connections do not disappear just because people become silent. Some people leave your life physically, but somehow their presence stays. Their voice stays in your memories. Their smile stays in the small moments. Their words stay with you when the world becomes quiet. And if you are reading this right now, there is a reason you stopped here. Maybe you were about to scroll away. Maybe you told yourself, this is just another message. But something inside you made you stay. Something inside you whispered, read this. Because this message is not about everyone, it is about a person who has been trying to reach you in ways you may not have noticed. A person who has been fighting a battle inside their own heart. A person who has been asking themselves the same question over and over again. Should I finally tell them the truth? You see, there are moments in life when someone realizes they cannot keep pretending anymore. There are moments when silence becomes heavier than words. When holding feelings inside starts hurting more than admitting them. And that moment may be closer than you think. Because the person you love has been carrying something they never showed you. Something they hid behind normal conversations. Behind simple replies. Behind those moments when they acted like they were completely okay. But they weren't. They were thinking. They were remembering. They were wondering if you still cared. They were wondering if you ever looked back and thought about them too. And the truth is, you both may have been waiting for the other person to make the first move. Two hearts. Two people. Two different fears. Both wanting the same thing. But both afraid of what might happen if they finally say what they truly feel, because love is not always difficult because people stop caring. Sometimes love becomes difficult because people care too much. They become afraid of rejection, afraid of losing what little connection remains, afraid that after saying everything they feel, the other person might not feel the same way. And maybe that is what happened here. Maybe someone you love has been standing at the edge of a decision between staying silent or finally opening their heart, between protecting themselves or risking everything. Because recently, something changed, something made them look at life differently, something made them realize that time is not guaranteed, that opportunities do not wait forever, that some people come into your life only once. And losing them is something you never fully recover from. Maybe it was a quiet moment, maybe it was a memory, maybe it was seeing something that reminded them of you, maybe it was realizing that no matter how much time passes, your place in their heart never really changed. And that realization scared them. Because they understood something important. They understood that they cannot keep waiting forever. They cannot keep hoping you somehow know what they feel, without them saying it. They cannot keep expecting you to read the thoughts they never speak. Because sometimes the person we love is not ignoring us. Sometimes they are fighting their own fears. Sometimes trying to find the courage to say the words that have been trapped inside them for months. Maybe even years. And those words are not small. They are not casual, they are not something they can simply say and forget. Because when someone truly cares about you, admitting those feelings means becoming vulnerable. It means showing you the parts of themselves they usually hide from everyone else. Their doubts, their regrets, their pain, their hopes, their deepest emotions, and that is terrifying, because once someone gives you access to their heart, you have the power to heal it, but you also have the power to break it. And that is why they have been careful, that is why they have been distant sometimes. That is why they may have acted differently. Not because they stopped caring, but because they cared more than they wanted to admit. Think about it. Have you ever noticed someone acting strange around you? Maybe they wanted to say something but stopped. Maybe they started a conversation and then changed the subject. Maybe they looked like they had something important to tell you. Maybe there were moments when you felt a connection, but neither of you knew what to do next. Those moments were not meaningless. Those moments were signs of something unfinished, because some conversations are delayed. Not because they are not important, but because both people need to become ready for them. And maybe that is where you are right now. Standing at the beginning of something you do not fully understand yet. Because this is not only about the person you love. This is also about you, about the way you have been protecting your heart, about the walls you built after being hurt, about the times you convinced yourself that you did not need anyone, about the nights when you secretly wished someone would choose you without you having to ask, because deep down, everyone wants the same thing, to be seen, to be understood, to feel like someone looks at them and says, I know your flaws. I know your struggles. I know your fears, and I still choose you. And maybe that is the message your heart has been waiting for. But before you understand why this person is coming back into your thoughts, before you understand what they have been trying to tell you, you need to understand one thing. The connection you feel is not only about missing someone. It is about something that changed inside both of you, because sometimes life separates two people, not to end their story, but to give them time to grow into the people they were always meant to become. Sometimes distance reveals what closeness hides. Sometimes silence reveals what words cannot explain, and sometimes losing someone for a while makes you realize how much they truly mattered. But there is something you still do not know. Something this person has been hiding. Something that explains why they have been so quiet, why they have been holding back, and why they may finally be ready to say everything they have been afraid to say. Because the next part of this story is not about what they feel, it is about what happened that made them realize they cannot stay silent anymore, and when you understand that, you may finally understand why this message found you today. There is something you need to understand about the person you love, the silence you have been feeling, the distance you have noticed, the moments when you wondered if they still cared. It may not mean what you think it means because sometimes the person who feels the most is the person who says the least. Sometimes the heart that is carrying the most emotion is the heart that has learned how to hide it the best, and this person, they have been hiding a lot. They have been trying to convince themselves that they are okay without you. They have been trying to continue their life normally. They have laughed with other people. They have smiled in conversations. They have continued their daily routine. But there are moments when everything becomes quiet. Moments when the distractions disappear. Moments when they are alone with their thoughts. And, in those moments, they think about you. They remember the little things you probably forgot. The way you looked at them when nobody else noticed. The conversations that lasted longer than they expected. The small jokes that only the two of you understood. The moments that seemed ordinary at the time, but became priceless memories later. Because that is the strange thing about human connections. We often do not realize the importance of a moment until it becomes a memory. We do not always understand the value of someone until their absence creates a space that nothing else can fill. And that is what happened. Somewhere along the way, they realized that your presence was not something ordinary. You were not just another person passing through their life. You became someone connected to their story. Someone whose impact remained even when you were not there. And maybe they tried to fight that feeling. Maybe they told themselves, move on, forget about it, stop thinking about them. Maybe it was never meant to happen. But the heart does not always listen to logic, because the heart remembers what the mind tries to forget, and lately, something has been changing inside them, a realization, a moment of clarity, a truth they can no longer ignore. They started asking themselves questions they avoided for a long time. What if I never tell them? What if I lose my chance forever? What if they were the person I was searching for all along? And those questions became impossible to escape, because sometimes life gives people a warning, not through dramatic signs, not through something everyone can see, but through a quiet feeling deep inside, a feeling that says, do not let this person disappear. And maybe that is what they are feeling now, the fear of losing you. The fear of waking up one day and realizing they waited too long, the fear of looking back and knowing they had something beautiful in their hands. But they were too afraid to hold on, because the truth is, love requires courage. Not the kind of courage where you are never afraid. The kind of courage where you are afraid. But you choose to speak anyway, you choose to be honest anyway, you choose to open your heart, even though you know it could get hurt. And that is the battle happening inside them, a battle between fear and love, between the past that hurt them, and the future they secretly hope for, because maybe they have been hurt before. Maybe someone made them feel like their love was not enough. Maybe they experienced rejection. Maybe they learned that showing emotions only led to disappointment. And because of that, they built walls, they created distance, they protected themselves. But then you came into their life. And somehow, without even trying, you started breaking those walls, not because you forced your way in, but because something about you felt different, something about you felt safe, something about you made them feel understood. And that is rare. In a world where many people are seen but not truly understood. Finding someone who makes you feel recognized is unforgettable. You became that person for them, the person they could be themselves around. The person they did not have to pretend with. The person who saw their imperfections and did not walk away. And maybe they never told you how much that meant. Maybe they never explained how important those moments were. Maybe they assumed you already knew. But you did not. Because people cannot read hearts, they can only hear the words we choose to say. And that is why this moment matters. Because there are things that need to be spoken. There are feelings that need to be released. There are truths that have been waiting for the right time. And maybe this is that time. But before you think this is only about them coming back, there is something deeper happening. Because this journey is not only about another person choosing you. It is also about you choosing yourself. For so long, you may have questioned your own worth. You may have wondered why certain people left, why certain relationships failed, why you had to experience heartbreak, when all you wanted was something real. And maybe you blamed yourself. Maybe you thought, was I not enough? Did I do something wrong? Why was loving someone so painful? But what you could not see at the time, was that every experience was shaping you. Every disappointment was teaching you. Every goodbye was preparing you, not because pain is something you deserve, but because growth often happens in the places where we are forced to discover our own strength. You became stronger, you became wiser. You learned what you will no longer accept. You learned the difference between someone who simply wants your attention and someone who values your heart. And maybe that is why this connection feels different. Because you are not the same person you were before. And neither are they. The person you love has changed too. They have faced their own battles. They have had their own lonely nights. They have questioned their own decisions. They have wondered if they made a mistake by staying silent. But now they understand something. They understand that some people are worth fighting for. Some connections are worth risking everything for. Some moments only come once. And they do not want to miss this one, because deep inside, they know something. They know that whatever happens next, they need to be honest, they need to stop hiding, they need to stop pretending that losing you would not hurt, because it would. More than they ever admitted. And maybe that is why you are here. Maybe this message reached you at the exact moment you needed to hear it, not because everything will magically become perfect, not because love never has challenges, but because some conversations can change everything. Some words can heal years of silence. Some truths can finally bring peace to two hearts that have been waiting. And the biggest truth is still coming, because there is one final thing you need to know. Something about the moment when this person finally decides to speak. Something about the words they have been carrying. Something that may completely change the way you see this entire connection. Because the next part is where everything comes together. The fear, the waiting, the silence, the memories. Everything leads to one moment. The moment when a heart finally stops hiding. You have reached the part that most people never reach. The part beyond the questions, beyond the doubts, beyond the fear of wondering whether someone truly cares. Because the truth about love is not always found in the words people say. Sometimes it is found in the moments when they almost say something, the pauses, the hesitation. The times they looked at you like they wanted to tell you everything, but something stopped them. And maybe now you understand. Maybe those moments were not meaningless. Maybe there was a reason their voice became quieter, when the conversation became deeper. Maybe there was a reason they looked away when emotions became too real, because some feelings are so powerful that people become afraid of them. Not because they do not want love, but because they know how much it matters. When someone truly matters to you, the possibility of losing them becomes terrifying, and that is what this person has been facing. The fear of losing something they cannot replace. The fear of watching you move forward while they stay behind. With words they never had the courage to say. Because there is a painful feeling that comes from knowing you had a chance. And you let fear take it away. They do not want that. They do not want to spend years wondering, what if I had told them? What if I had tried one more time? What if the person I was searching for was right in front of me all along? Those questions have been living inside them. And recently, something changed. Maybe it was a memory. Maybe it was a conversation. Maybe it was a moment when they realized that life moves faster than we think, because one day you wake up and understand something important. Tomorrow is not promised. People change, situations change, time creates distance. And sometimes the biggest regrets in life are not the things we did. They are the things we were too afraid to do, the words we never spoke, the apologies we never gave, the love we never expressed. And this person does not want their story with you to become a what if. They want you to know something. Something they should have told you a long time ago. They want you to know that you mattered. Even during the silence, even during the distance. Even during the moments when it felt like they were moving away, you mattered. You were never forgotten. You were never just another chapter. You were someone who changed something inside them. Because some people enter our lives and leave no trace. But others leave fingerprints on our hearts. They change the way we see love. They change the way we see ourselves. They make us understand parts of ourselves we never knew existed. And you were that person for them. The person who made them feel something real. The person who reminded them that connection still exists. The person who showed them that being understood is one of the greatest gifts anyone can receive. But there is something you need to hear too. Something important. Do not wait for someone else to prove that you are valuable. Do not wait for someone else to choose you before you believe you are worth choosing, because your worth was never created by another person's love. It was always there. Before they came into your life, before they knew your name, before they understood your heart, you were already valuable. You were already enough. And maybe that is the lesson this entire journey was trying to teach you. Love is not about finding someone to complete you. It is about finding someone who recognizes the completeness that already exists inside you. The right person does not make you valuable. They remind you of the value you forgot. And maybe this person is realizing that now. Maybe they are seeing you differently, not as someone they simply miss, but as someone they deeply appreciate. Someone they do not want to lose, someone they want to protect, someone they want to build something meaningful with, because real love is not only about emotions, it is about choice. Every day, choosing honesty, choosing patience, choosing understanding, choosing to stay even when things become difficult. And maybe that is why this moment feels different, because both of you have changed. Both of you have learned. Both of you have experienced things that shaped your hearts. The person you love is not coming back as the same person who left. And you are not the same person who was hurt before. You both have grown. You both have survived things you never thought you would survive. You both have carried pain that nobody else could see. And somehow, after everything, the connection is still there. That means something, because not every bond survives distance, not every connection survives silence, not every person remains important after time passes. But some do. Some people remain in your heart because they were never meant to be forgotten. They were meant to teach you, to challenge you, to change you, and sometimes, to return when both hearts are finally ready. So if this person reaches out, if they finally open the conversation they have been avoiding, listen carefully. Not only to their words, listen to their heart, because behind those words may be months of fear, years of emotions, 1,000 things they never knew how to express, and when they finally say what they feel, do not only hear the sentence. Hear the journey behind it, hear every moment they almost spoke, every time they wanted to call, every time they remembered you, every time they wondered if you were okay, because love is often hidden in the things people do not say. And maybe this is your reminder. Maybe this is your sign to stop running from something your heart already understands. Not because you should ignore reality. Not because every connection is meant to last forever. But because some conversations deserve a chance, some feelings deserve honesty, some people deserve to know they mattered. And maybe you deserve that too. You deserve to know the truth. You deserve to experience a love that does not leave you constantly questioning your place, a love that feels peaceful, a love that feels safe, a love where you do not have to beg to be seen. Because the deepest form of love is not someone holding on to you because they are afraid to lose you. It is someone choosing you because they truly know your worth, and maybe that is what this person has finally realized. Maybe they finally understand that losing you would mean losing something rare, something they cannot easily find again, something they should have appreciated sooner. And now, the choice is no longer about waiting. It is about opening your heart. It is about allowing yourself to receive what you always wanted. It is about understanding that love requires two people who are willing to be honest, two people willing to put down their defenses, two people willing to say, I was afraid, I was hurt, I missed you, I still care. Because sometimes the most powerful words are the simplest ones, and maybe those are the words waiting for you. Maybe the person you love is not asking you to forget everything. They are asking you to understand something, that despite the distance, despite the silence, despite everything that happened, the connection was real, the feelings were real. And the story may not be finished yet, because sometimes the end of one chapter is not the end of the story. Sometimes it is the moment before everything changes. And maybe this is that moment, the moment when two hearts finally stop hiding, the moment when the truth finally comes out, the moment when someone finally says the words they were afraid to say. I never stopped caring about you, I never stopped thinking about you, and I never stopped hoping that somehow, we would find our way back to each other.